it over there?
What?
How do you like it over there? Level?
Level.
All right.
We're out. This is the head.
All right. Queremos.
Hold on.
Could be more. There's four devices currently.
Are we going straight on this road? By the, oh, I see it. And we're going to go right, okay?
Rabbi, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
You want to let them go in front of you, or you want to leave?
Sure, Tamim Pa'alo, Yichol Drachav Mishpat, Eil Emunah V'Ein Avel, Sadiq V'Yashar. Swear Tamim Pa'alo, V'Yomar Lo Ma'ati. V'Yomar Lo Ma'ati. Sadiq Adonai La'amim La'amim.
Star of David and it won't blow away.
Oh, really?
Adam Yusodo Afar V'Sofo Afar. Adam Me'afar Yakum Afar Tashu. Man's beginning is dust, and his end is dust. The dust returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns to God who gave it. Receive in mercy, O God, the soul of our departed. Graciously pardon his sins, and blot out the remembrance of them. For there liveth no man on earth who is so righteous that they sin not. Grant unto Ralph Fine that everlasting peace, which thou hast laid up for each of us in the world to come. For no human eye hath seen, nor ear hath heard, nor mind hath conceived. It is still our sure inheritance and our everlasting portion. Amen. No.
Sure, I don't want to sit down. Are you sure you don't want to sit down?
Rabbi, here's the podium for you.
Anytime
Just come and be seated.
you're ready. You ready?
One moment, please. This service is being conducted by Rabbi Victor Weisberg.
Adonai ma'adam vatidahehu, ben enosh vatchashvehu, adam lahevel damai, yamav kimsei lovehu, baboker yatzitz v'chalav, ula'erev yamoleel v'yavesh, tashev enosh ad dakav hatomer shuvu v'nei adam, lu chochmu yaskilu zot, yavinu la'achrita, lo b'moto yikach hakol, lo yered acharav kavodo. Shmar tam u'rei yashar, ki acharit le'ish shalom. Udeh Adonai nefesh avadav, v'lo yeshmu kol hachosim bo. Lord, what is man that thou takest knowledge of him? Or the son of man that thou makest account of him? That's the question that the psalmist has. And his answer is, man is like unto a breath. His days are as a shadow that passeth away. In the morning he flourisheth and groweth up, and in the evening he is cut down and withereth. Thou turnest man to contrition, and sayest, Return, ye children of men. Oh, that they were wise, and would consider their land. For when man dieth, he shall carry nothing away. His glory shall not descend after him. And that word, by the way, glory, that word is King James' translation of the word kavod in Hebrew. And the word kavod in Hebrew is a concept that we meet when Moses comes down from Mount Sinai for the first time. And you know, when he comes down, he sees what's going on around the golden calf, and he smashes the tablets. And they were in the 32nd, 33rd, and 34th chapters of Exodus. There's the most magnificent dialogue between Moses and God. And it's something that I want you to look at because it's so beautiful and touching. Because Moses feels that he's failed God and that God has lost confidence in him. And God keeps saying, no, I want you to go up the mountain a second time. And Moses says, I won't go unless I see your face. And God says, no man can see my face and live, but I will cause all my kavod to pass before them. And then there comes two verses in 34 at the end of this conversation. And these verses we recite only 5 times liturgically during the year. When the Ark is open, but before we take the Torah out, on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Pesach, and Shavuot. And the cantor usually chants it three distinct times. Forgive me if not, I'm not a cantor, but this is what it says. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed la'alafim, Nosei Avon v'Fesha v'Chata'a v'Nakeh. These are the 13 attributes of God. God is. His presence is ever present. And even at this moment, we feel that God's nearness is nigh. God is mighty, and God is powerful. And if we've ever been empowered by somebody, we should appreciate that they've gone out of their way to spend time to give us that strength to go forward. Besides being powerful and strong, God is merciful, God is gracious, God is kindly, God is true, God is loyal, God is just, God is patient, God forgives iniquity, transgression, and sin, and grants pardon. And because we are who we are, human beings, once we were little, once we were naughty, not more than once, and people forgave us, and people helped us, and people encouraged us, and people set us on the right path, and people expressed something that was most precious, and we should reflect on it because we have the same power to do it, and that is to show the better part of our nature when we forgive iniquity, transgression, and sin, and grant pardon. And those are the divine attributes of God, and we know that they're humanly possible. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man shall be peace. The Lord redeemeth the souls of his servants, and none of them that trust in him shall be forsaken. Amen. I'd like to, do you have that little pamphlet? Do you have the pamphlet? Why don't we give them the pamphlet?
No.
Okay. If you open the pamphlet, you'll see the 23rd Psalm. And the 23rd Psalm really is known as David's Psalm, even though all the Psalms have been thought of as his authorship. But this one encapsulates his life, because in the first 3 sentences, David is sort of estranged from God. He talks about God in the 3rd person. But when he's walking in the valley of the shadow of death, he changes his tone entirely. He's alone facing this gigantic adversary, called Goliath, a guy 7 feet tall. It's in the Book of Kings, and it takes 2 men to hold Goliath's shield, and David's a little guy, and he's only armed with a slingshot and 5 shiny pebbles that he picked up in the brook. And he now addresses God in the propinquitous, "Thou art with me. Thy rod, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table." And you know, in our life, sometimes we don't need to feel the need for God. We feel estranged from God. We even doubt about his presence. But when times are difficult, thy rod, they comfort me. And when we're alone in the very facing all kinds of things, we should not feel alone. If we have sense of purpose, then thou art with me. Let's recite together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. Steve, come forward, honey. And stand in front of this microphone.
One of the things my dad gave me when I was young was his coin collection. It wasn't much of a collection, really. It was just a box of small denomination coins. They were a memory for him as he told about the nightly ritual of looking for buffalo head pennies and foreign coins while sorting through the day's earnings collected from selling newspapers, racing sheets at the family newsstand. Dad would laugh as he joked about his older brother Eddie, and he saying that the first one awake was the best dressed. Then with sadness, tell the stories of his mother, my grandma Flora, standing in the cold Chicago winters in a threadbare winter coat at the newsstand. The youngest of 3 children born to immigrant parents. It was those years of hard work, tossing bundles of magazines and newspapers that molded my dad, teaching him all the values and characteristics that he shared with my brothers and sisters and I. He modeled working hard, and of course, his love of education, but more importantly, he taught us humility and kindness. And he stepped into leadership roles to bring people together. Aside from his career in Cook County and corporate America, I remember the day we sat at the kitchen table. He told us he was going off on his own. He was going to be an independent CPA and build his own practice. While we were told it might be tough for a while, I never recall anything changing as he became a successful entrepreneur. My dad was president of the Neighborhood Association, a scout leader, Indian guides. He organized reunions for his extended family and high school classmates, which I know he hopes you all will continue doing. Learning from his mother about commitment reflected it back, caring for Grandma long into her 80s. The sense of commitment built our family, and of course to his beloved Sonia and the whole Pepper family. When I first heard the word mensch, no one needed to define it. My dad had done that his whole life. My dad loved deeply. There was so much love that he had to share it. It was about 2 years ago, at the age of 89, when he called and asked if we were coming to Chicago to celebrate Father's Day. He said, I want you to see where I'm moving to meet my new girlfriend. And that's where we met sweet Krista, whose companionship gave him such comfort and joy these past years. They say daughters often look for traits in their husbands that they appreciated in their fathers. Well, consciously or subconsciously, I think my sister Sherry did that, which is very grateful. father-in-law was a sweet soul who could only be described as one of the nicest guys you want to know. We're gonna miss you big. We're gonna miss you big time, Uncle Randy. As I looked through pictures of my dad, I couldn't find a single one where he wasn't smiling. And not just smiling, but a smile that shows through his eyes that there was real joy beneath it. A story was told of how my dad's brother, Uncle Eddie, would tell his date at the cinema after hearing loud, exuberant laughter that rose above the crowd. I guess my brother Ralph was here. My brother Erwin inherited that laughter. I think Barry and I inherited my dad's easygoing temper. And here we are, saying goodbye to a man of 91 years. If it wasn't for the craziness that lives here, Ralph and I might have lived to be 100. I wonder if his good health was a result of building immunity early in life by working at the newsstand. Or is it something that would be passed down to our own genetics, to our grandchildren, and great-grandchildren? Whether it is his good health or his long flowing hair. I can only pray that my dad's kindness and generosity is also genetic, and that it will continue to be passed on, not only through his family, but everyone who knew him, everyone with whom he shared a smile and a laugh and a handshake, would find it contagious and pass it along to others. As we're now in this time of celebration of lights, Hanukkah, I hope that that touch that you've gotten from my dad over the years can also shine light and share it with the world, because we certainly need it these days. Thank you.
Thank you. It so happens that besides being a rabbi, I'm a devotee of a gentleman who died in Vienna in the 30s. His name was Alfred Adler. He was a member of the original Freudian circle, but he left Freud because he had a different insight into life. And I became an Adlerian psychologist because I don't really hold to Freud, and I feel that Alfred Adler had the right view of life. First of all, he talked about health. And he talked about health in this term. He said, health is like a three-legged stool. And if you have all three of those legs of this stool, you're going to have a long and healthy life. And he talked about love, work, and friendship. Those three ideas: love, work, and friendship. And the reason I think of that, it was my privilege to know Ralph early on in our life. You know, I was a young rabbi, he was a young father, and he was very, very involved in the synagogue, especially with the young people. His kids were members of the youth group, and but as you listened to Stephen, you heard that he was an Askan Siburi. He was involved in all aspects of public life, being a member of a county organization, as a county auditor, which is an official title, being a scout leader, being a community president, being a neighbor and a friend, and all of these things. So you see that he had this love of friendship and desire to share of himself, and it was always, and I remember, Steve, the laugh that Ralph had. It was a big guffaw. It was a very rich, it made all of us happier when we heard Ralph laugh. And so we think of him and the women in his life, whom he gave so much, okay, in terms of love, in terms of absolute love. I know that there was some crises and things of this nature, but he was able to go forward and build happiness and build an example that his children and his stepchildren enjoyed, okay? And how this Yid got to the Danish home is an interesting story all by itself, okay? I thought it was a Danish bakery. Okay, now, but kidding aside, yes, he found in those latter years another rich companion. Oh, look at the geese. He found companionship and affection and a way to receive and to bestow in equal measure. And that's part of the beauty of his life. I want to talk about Ralph's work. Most often we think about work in terms of money, in terms of payment, but that's not true. Work is what we do that we enjoy in something that leaves a community richer and closer to one another. And you see with this pandemic, we see people feel estranged, lonely, forgotten. People just don't understand with this pandemic that we need each other just to shake hands, to embrace. We need each other to feel a smile, to feel nearness. And Ralph projected that within himself and in his family, and not only for his children, but well beyond that. And we should appreciate that. Because it's cold, I want to stop before you put the hook onto me. You know, because Stephen mentioned it, tonight is going to be the second night of Hanukkah. And by the way, you light your Hanukkah menorah before you light your Shabbos candles is the right way to do it. Okay. The word Hanukkah means dedication. Chanukah Tabayit, Shir Chanukah Tabayit, the song of dedication of the temple, was the story of the Maccabees and the Seleucids. But the spirit, the reason that Hanukkah became a major holiday, even though it's a minor holiday, it's not one of the pilgrim holidays of Sukkot, Pesach, Shavuot, but it became a major holiday is because we wanted to land meaning to it in terms of dedication, in terms of our own dedication and rededication. And you know, one of my favorite pieces of literature is Lincoln's second inaugural address. You know, we want to rededicate ourselves to the people and the things that moved people and showed us a higher way of life, of love and of work and of friendship, of being with other people and lifting their spirits and showing them the better part of our own personality. And that's so very important because the newspapers usually give headlines to people who are greedy, needy, nasty, malfeasers of one kind or another. If you read the Tribune this morning, they found this guy after 21 years who murdered this beautiful airline hostess 21 years ago in Des Plaines. So, I mean, they get the front page. The people who are good don't always get recognition that they deserve. But the people who are good are the people who make this world livable and beautiful and holy and noble and joyous. And we want to remember those people, and especially at this moment, we want to remember Ralph. And I want to say a special prayer for Randy. Rafa'enu Adonai v'nei Rafeh. Hoshienu Adonai v'nei Vasheh. Give us strength, O Lord. Heal us, O Lord, and we shall be healed. I know it was difficult when I talked to Sherry just at the last moment in Randy's life. But we want to remember not only the last moment, but we want to get over that hump of grief itself and remember the joyous moments. The children that we raised together, the joyous moments that we shared together, all of life's adventures that we shared together. And may his memory be a blessing. Almighty God and compassionate Father, in whose hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh, as we come to pay our fond farewell to a beloved father, husband, grandfather, relative, and friend, we thank thee for all that was good and true in his life, for all that remained sweet and inspiring in his character. Love dies not, and righteousness is mightier than the grave. And they that walk uprightly among men and sow seeds of truth and loving kindness live on in everlasting remembrance. Help us that through our own deeds and words we can reflect honor upon Ralph and all those whom we love who have preceded us into the beyond. We thank thee for all their exemplary behavior, for all that they brought of loyalty and love, showed us how to work, showed us how to succeed, showed us how to start over again, showed us how to serve people, showed us how to keep people paying their taxes in an effective way and being a benefit to our country, our nation, our city, and community. We want to remember Reuven Shmuel ben Shimon Yaakov, Ralph Fine, and we want to remember Seymour Fine and Flora Fine and Tauby Golden and Sonia Pepper, and we want to remember Randy Boucher for blessing. May their memories remain a blessing for us, and may they find peace with their Father in heaven and their seat on high. El Mole Rachamim Shochein Bagromim, Hamsei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, B'malod Kedoshim Utahorim, Kezohar Harakia Masivim, Et Nishmat Reuven Shmuel ben Shimon Yaakov, Shehalach Liolamo. Ana Balarachamim Yastirehu B'Seter Knafav Liolamim, V'yitzror b'tzror hachayim et nishmato. Adonai hu nachlato, v'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo, v'nomar Amen. O God, full of compassion, thou who dwellest on high, grant perfect rest beneath the sheltering cover of thy wing, among the holy and pure who shine as the brightness of the firmament, unto the soul of Ralph Samuel Fine. And may all of us remember him for blessing, and we bind his soul up with the bond of eternal life, with his father Seymour, his mother Flora, his sister Tybee, his wife Sonia Pepper, and his son-in-law Randy Boucher, and all those whom we remember who have preceded us into life eternal. Be thou our possession, and may his repose be peace, as we recite the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, b'yolma divra chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayei chon u'vyomei chon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'zman karev, v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach, v'yolam ulo me'omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, Shemay de Kudisha Baruchu.
Right.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush birchata v'nechemata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu. V'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Uya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'nomar amen.
Amen.
May the departed whom we now remember enter into the peace of life eternal. May their repose be peace, and may they join their loved ones on their seat on high. May they be a good or better for us. May they watch over us, pray for our benefit, our longevity, our good health, our joy. Pray for us that we can remember them and emulate them in our work, in our love, and in our friendship. V'nomar. Amen. Amen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're able to put a little earth on the grave. Is that right, Lord?
Let them lower the casket now, please.
Yes. The reason I
And
say
then
that, I see this paper.
You
cup.
can use paper cups to put the earth in after the casket's lowered.
Yes.
No, not here.
two of you are going to walk through this Shiraz. Go back to your car. Okay? Napoleon Hamilton took Shara You got temperature with all those who mourn among our Napoleon Hamilton took Shara
Rabbi, let's do,
yes.
come back here for a moment. You're just gonna cut your ribbon. Do you want one? Would you like a ribbon?
Yes, I don't leave the house, so.
Mexican wear a ribbon. Excellent.
Rabbi, maybe put your mask on, please.
Where this is a holiday, especially when you don't have here's a nice one. Here.
Sherry, come here a moment, Steve. So we've got still 31 of about approximately 40 people here. I'm going to switch the camera around if you just want to thank everyone for coming. They can see you now.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
Probably had close to 100 people watching.